Hey everyone, TimaeuSS. Welcome to another NIKKE video. So today we'll be taking a look at two really underrated characters that on initial release people didn't think they were top tier, but after several testing and because of how some of the game mechanics are working right now, they are actually absolute beasts that everyone should be aware of. Okay, so this is, I guess, a continuation of my previous video where I talked about the bug tier list, and this is a more in-depth rundown of what makes those units really good. So to start off, we have our Rupee. Okay, so Rupee is a fantastic damage dealer, and I'll just draw your attention to the Pridewin website where we changed the rating of Rupee from the old B to the current SS. And this has to do with how the damage formula works. So let's scroll down. All right, so if we take a look at Rupee, okay, she is right now on the CN server being called Mini Scarlet, okay, and it's hilarious to see. So what makes Scarlet really good, and we'll go to her kit, is because, guys, if you remember, she has a skill 1 that increases her attack by 23% max level, and it stacks up to 5 times, okay, and it lasts for 5 seconds. So she can get this up pretty easily, and you'll be able to see the lotus icon near Scarlet, and she'll be having 5 stacks most of the time, reaching that insane attack buff. All right, and as we know from the damage formula, attack is king over crit damage or crit rate. And of course, Scarlet also has a 40-second burst 3 that increases her crit rate, but again, crit rate right now is negligible, but insane multipliers on the attack. Right, and this is what makes Scarlet so good, is because this basically 23 times 5 attack. Okay, insane. Now if we look at Rupee's kit, okay, so Rupee is a iron type assault rifle user that does have a stack right here, a passive stack that affects self after 30 attacks and increases attack by 13.8 up to 5 times. That lasts for 15 seconds. So do you see the similarity here? 23.15 up to 5 times and 13.8 up to 5 times. So of course this number is just over, obviously, half of this number, right? So the effect of the attack is going to be a bit lower in terms of the buff. However, she has something else going for her. Her first skill increases stack count of iron type allies and increases their attack buffs by a stack count of 1. So this is bugged right now in the sense that if it's not a stackable buff, all right, basically it doesn't say stack up to X amount of times, then it counts as a normal buff with a timer. However, if you are able to increase the stack count of the buff by 1, the game senses it as pretty much a permanent stack. So you gain that buff permanently, which is pretty big for some of the units. I'll show you why later on, okay? And if you look at the burst skills, so she's got an AoE attack as well, similar to Scarlet, obviously much lower multiplier, and she also gains an attack buff that affects all allies, and we know attack is king in the formula. So this is why she is kind of being compared to Scarlet in the sense that she's got that self-stacking attack, she's got that AoE damage, and another attack buff on top, plus the bug right now boosting the iron type allies. So we can actually take a look. All right, we can actually take a look. So this is the team comp, the 3 cores, in my opinion, for Rupee. You have your Litter, who is also an iron type, Rupee, and Privity, who is a free unit, and we'll just look at the damage they're outputting. All right, and we can go to the first burst to save time. So we'll see how much damage we can output at the end of the first burst. All right, so keynote here, in my testing, I purposely made Rupee core 1 and my Scarlet limit break 1. This is obviously because Scarlet is much more difficult to limit break versus Rupee, who is not a pilgrim unit. So we'll wait for this to expire at the full burst, and then let's check out the damage. Okay, expired. So right now we have done about 83. So the total damage, we'll just watch at the top, it's at 2.2. okay, so it's at 2.2 mil. All right, we'll bring in the Scarlet team and go from there and see how the damage is in comparison. So one thing I'm going to test is in the Scarlet team. All right, we are going to use Dola and Scarlet. So everyone's level 120, and let's see how Scarlet does after the full burst. Of course, in the Rupee sample, you have dual core in in Rupee plus Privity, and here it's a single core Scarlet. But because Scarlet has survivability problems, I put it as a single core for now. The Mega Whales are going to use Scarlet's Haran, but obviously in the case in this video is we want to showcase if the Rupee team is comparable. The dual core is comparable to a single core, because it's got much better survivability. So let's wait until this is about to expire and see the damage difference. Okay, perfect. So this is Scarlet's damage. Obviously it's going to be extremely high, because we know Scarlet is super strong, and sitting at 1.7 million. However, the total damage right now is at 2.8, which is just about, I would say, 20% higher. 20% higher than the Rupee composition. But you have to remember, this is a three-core team, right? And Rupee is going to scale slightly better with 2 more additional units, just due to the fact that Rupee will have the bug to permanently stack the debuff, and we'll have attack buff for the rest of the team as well. So in my honest opinion, obviously Rupee is not going to be as strong as Scarlet. However, I think Rupee is a pretty decent unit, all things considered, especially with her self-attacking, self-stacking debuff. And you can also use Rupee and Scarlet together. That's another optimal setup in my opinion, because you can have Litter 1, Rupee 2, and it's only a 20-second, okay, 20-second burst 2, which means she'll be able to AoE and provide the attack buff very often into the Scarlet S3. So one of the more underrated unit that got moved from B to SS, for sure her damage is quite decent, especially the overall effect she has on the rest of the team. All right, so that is Rupee. The other unit I want to talk about in this video is Senti. Okay, and I'll go in depth with regards to Senti over at the Nickepedia. So Senti, Senti, of course, is bugged. All right, it's bugged, or it's working as intended, but we'll see why she is super strong in this regard. So let's open up Senti. So I haven't leveled her up in the test server, but let's read her skills first. Okay, her first skill, when hitting a target with full charge, affects self, so basically a CD reduction. Her second skill is affects allies, creates a shield that is equal to 3% of the caster HP for 5 seconds. And she's got an ult that does damage and defense down. We will head on over now into the Pridewin website so that we can look at the exact cooldown of her skills. And the reason why I wanted to bring Senti is because for the JP server and for the global server as well, people have cleared 16-28 already. I think 2-3 days ago. I might make a separate video on that. But Senti is actually one of the core team used, one of the core unit used on the teams, just because of how her shield mechanics work. So old rating was B, now S, potentially SS even. And let's take a look at the max level. So this is max level skill, okay? So she's going to be able to decrease her cooldown by 10% on her second skill. So in 9 seconds, it's already going to go down to 8. All right, and it creates a shield up to 6% for 5 seconds. So this is insane. You basically have only a 3-second downtime of the shield if the enemy cannot break 6% of the caster's max HP. But I want to draw attention to how this is extremely important. Okay, the way the shield works in this game is different. A lot of the other games where you have a shield, you have basically this extra HP, right? And any damage that goes over the shield penetrates into your HP. In this game, it's treated as almost a different entity, and hence why oh my god, Senti is super strong. So when an enemy does, let's say, 2 million damage, okay, and your Senti has 50,000 HP, she creates a shield that is, let's say, 10% of her HP. Not only does that shield count as an additional damage soaking mechanic, it actually counts as almost another body in front of the unit. So what's going to happen is the boss is going to launch this attack that is 10 million damage. It's going to kill the shield, but the damage overflow will not be applied onto the unit. So regardless of how strong the attack is, especially when you know what I'm talking about, when we're stuck in those stages with the suiciding bugs that jump on top, right? They explode and do so much damage. It doesn't matter how much damage they do. If they do more than the shield is simply going to absorb that instance of damage and move on. Like, there's no extra damage to the unit behind the shield. And that's what makes her so damn strong. In the Japan server first clear, as well as one of the global, I think either first or second clear, like legit, no cheating, right? Senti was really good and key in survivability, because as people were pushing the core unit for survival to enable, comps to allow them to beat much higher power level teams, was using Rapunzel. Rapunzel is super good, the heals with the revive, lots of room. But against certain boss stages where, there's going to be short bursts of insane damage coming out, that's just going to, either one-shot a unit or just leave them completely, I guess, dead. Senti is super strong in that regard because of the instance of the shield mechanic absorbing that one shot, and then she can cycle super fast. More often, she'll cycle faster than the boss's attack cooldown, right? So she can use that to her advantage and keep her team alive, and that's why she is ranked really high. So again, these two, both Senti as well as Rupee, were slightly underrated. And now, after more testing and with regards to how the bugs are working, we're adapting to this, and those two are clearly at the very top in terms of usage and viability. So hopefully this was helpful, and let me know if you like those explanations on why some units are really good, because I think a lot of people have those non-pilgrim units. Same with Noise, which I explained last time, how she's infinitely tanky. But yeah, hopefully these videos will help you bring out some of the units in your storage and give them a test. Again, it only costs 10 gems to reset, right? So no loss there. But yeah, hopefully this was helpful, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye now.